President Trump said another thing in response to that question about the debt that caught my attention, which was that we were ready to begin paying off debt. And I don't think that that's accurate when you look at the numbers. The deficit was going up. $666 billion his first year, 779 billion in 2018, and 984 billion in 2019, just pre-COVID. So rising deficits to almost $1 trillion a year doesn't strike me as we were just about to start paying down debt. I don't, that's one I just can't explain.
Well, if you want to parse the word, he was ready to start. It
Yeah.
didn't mean that he was doing it. It just meant that he was ready to start doing it, which means, that's prospective in the future. So,
I guess we'll have to, I guess we'll have to accept that. Yeah. There was more on that subject, but it wasn't on the subject. Actually, there was much more in response from President Trump. Talked about COVID mandates and criticized President Biden's policies on COVID, and drifted into other things that didn't directly relate to the debt. So then President Biden had a chance to answer the question about debt, and he mentioned that President Trump had the debt had gone up more in the 4 years under President Trump than under any other 4-year administration. And I believe that is true. The debt went up by 7.8 trillion during the Trump administration, aided considerably in the last year by the huge bipartisan effort to control COVID. And so there was a lot of spending and tax cuts. So that deficit got charged to the Trump administration. The interesting thing about that factoid, though, is that I think that the Biden people need to be careful about that, because he's very close to running up $7 trillion himself already. So, I mean, I don't think it's a particularly valid statistic to just look at a 4-year period and say, by how much did the debt go up? That's a very mechanical way. And it's not my favorite metric. But he brought it up. And so if that's what you're going to look at, there's been almost a $7 trillion increase under Biden, and there's several months more to go in his administration. So I think perhaps they need to be careful about that. Both of them, the debt has gone up significantly under both administrations, but the real issue is, what were the policies that produced that? And more specifically, what policies do they have going forward? And, in that regard, maybe the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget's number saying that President Trump approved policies that added like 8.4 trillion to the debt, and so far Biden has approved policies that have added like 4.3 trillion to the debt. That might be a better metric, because it looks at what the presidents have actually approved that would increase the debt, and not just simply a mechanical number of a 4-year period.